My GF cheated with a guy who thought he's the Karate Kid and tried to attack me with the crane kick. But I'm a Muay Thai fighter, and I showed him what reality looks like. Hey everyone! Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. Alright, Reddit. Throwaway for obvious reasons. I caught my girlfriend cheating with some karate master. Bro literally did the crane pose thinking he was intimidating. The thing is, I've been doing Muay Thai for 15 years, so I gave him a reality check when he tried to attack me. Fair warning, it gets pretty messy, lol. Here's what went down. I, 26 male, have been working as a lineman for the past 4 years. For those who don't know, that means I'm the guy climbing power poles and fixing electrical lines when storms knock out your Netflix. It's dangerous work. We're talking about 7,200 to 14,400 volts running through those lines. One wrong move and you're toast, literally. The job keeps me in decent shape, but I've been doing Muay Thai since I was 11. My uncle Danny spent 6 years in Thailand working construction and came back with some serious skills. Dude converted his 2-car garage into a legit training space and taught me everything from the ground up. We're talking real Thai boxing. None of that cardio kickboxing nonsense you see at chain gyms. After 15 years of training 5 days a week, I'm not huge, but I'm solid. 5'11 inches, about 180 pounds, and I know how to handle myself. My uncle always said, technique beats muscle every time, and I've seen enough gym bros get humbled to know he's right. We eventually moved to a small warehouse space on the industrial side of town. Concrete floors, heavy bags, Thai pads, and 0 mirrors. Just pure training. My routine was locked down. Wake up at 5 a.m., hit the gym, work my shift, usually 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., train again, meal prep, maybe play some Call of Duty. Weekends were for longer training sessions and catching up on sleep. I know it sounds boring, but when you're working with high voltage all day, you appreciate routine and consistency. The power company I work for is solid. Great benefits, overtime pay that's actually worth it, and a crew that's like family. Made some good friends there, but the real characters worked in the main office handling customer service and billing. That's where I met Brianna. Oh, and I should mention my brother Billy. He's 29, works in IT, and has zero filter when it comes to calling out people's nonsense. Dude could roast a marshmallow with his words alone. Brianna, 25 female, was the kind of girl who turned heads everywhere she went. Blonde, about 5 feet 7 inches, and she knew exactly how good she looked. She worked as a receptionist at the main office, so I'd see her whenever I had to drop off paperwork or pick up new work orders. What caught my attention wasn't just her looks, it was how she carried herself. Confidence that bordered on arrogance, but she could back it up. She had this way of talking to people like she was doing them a favor, just by acknowledging their existence. Most guys found it intimidating, but I thought it was kind of hot. Looking back, I should have realized that someone who treats service workers like dirt probably isn't relationship material. But hey, I was 23 and still thinking with my other brain. She was also high maintenance as hell. Designer everything. Purses, shoes, clothes that probably cost more than my monthly truck payment. Her nails were always perfect, hair always styled like she'd just left a salon. After a few months of casual banter during my office visits, she finally asked for my number, then we started dating. The first few dates were great. She was fun, had opinions about everything, and didn't play games. If Brianna wanted something, she'd tell you. If she was pissed, you'd know immediately. She was into fitness and went to one of those boutique gyms across town. Nice place with good equipment, spinning classes, yoga, Pilates, and even some martial arts classes in a side room. She was proud of staying in shape and maintaining her appearance, which I respected. After about a year of dating, we decided to move in together. I had a decent 2-bedroom apartment that I'd been renting for 3 years. Nothing fancy, but comfortable and in a good area. We split the rent and bills down the middle, which worked out well for both of us. For the first couple years, things were solid. The problems started gradually, like they always do. At first, it was just little comments here and there. Brianna would mention how one of her friend's boyfriends had gotten a promotion, or how someone at her gym was dating a guy who worked in finance. Nothing direct, just observations. She also started spending more time at her gym. What used to be hour-long sessions became 2 or 3 hours. When I'd ask what took so long, she'd say she was taking extra classes or hanging out with her gym friends. Made sense. She was social, and the gym was her thing. The comments about my job started subtly too. "You work so hard," she'd say, after I came home from a particularly rough day. Don't you ever think about doing something different? But the biggest change was how she talked about her gym's martial arts instructor. At first, it was just casual mentions. London showed us this cool technique today. Or, London says I have natural talent. I didn't think much of it. She was excited about learning something new. Over time, though, London became a more frequent topic of conversation. She'd compare us whenever I mentioned my own training. That's different. London teaches traditional martial arts. It's more refined. Right. Because nothing says refined like getting your ass kicked by a crane kick from a movie. After 3 years together, I thought we were solid. Sure, we had our issues like any couple, but nothing that seemed insurmountable. I'd even been planning a surprise for her. I'd been looking at better apartments for months, thinking it might be nice to upgrade our living situation. That Saturday started like any other. I was supposed to work a half day fixing some storm damage from the night before, then head to training. Brianna was still in bed when I left around 6 a.m., scrolling through Instagram like always. I'll probably go to the gym later. I'm feeling tired. I kissed her forehead and headed out. The job was supposed to be simple. A tree had taken down a line on the north side of town. But when we got there, we found 3 poles damaged and a transformer that needed replacing. What should have been a 4-hour job turned into 8 hours. By the time we finished, I was exhausted and covered in mud. It was almost 3 p.m., and I'd missed my training session. All I wanted was a hot shower and a nap before dinner. I climbed the stairs to my apartment and unlocked the door. What I saw next will be burned into my memory forever. Brianna was on my couch, hair in a messy bun, wearing nothing but a sports bra and those expensive leggings she'd bought last month. She was in some kind of stretching position, with her leg up on the coffee table. And standing right next to her was some dude I'd never seen before. This guy was maybe 30, completely shirtless, wearing gym shorts and sneakers. He had that puffy gym muscle, the kind you get from lots of bench pressing but zero functional training. His chest was sweaty, and he had this stupid grin on his face that disappeared the second he saw me. Dude looked like he'd been caught stealing cookies from the cookie jar. For a moment, nobody moved. I just stood there in my work clothes, hard hat still in my hand, trying to process what I was seeing. Brianna looked up with this fake surprised expression. "What are you doing here?" "Who the hell is this?" The guy stepped forward, chest puffed out. "You need to leave, bro. We're in the middle of something here." That's when I noticed Brianna's workout clothes scattered on the floor. Her sports bra was crooked, and there was a bottle of massage oil on the coffee table. "Let me guess. London?" He smiled like he'd just won something. "That's right." I looked at her. She was scrambling to fix her clothes, but had this defiant look on her face. "Don't make this weird. London was just showing me some stretching techniques." "Stretching techniques? In your underwear?" "We were working out." God, you're so paranoid. "Yeah, because nothing says workout like massage oil and taking your shirt off in someone else's living room." London stepped closer, trying to intimidate me. "Maybe you should find somewhere else to be for a while." I set my hard hat down and looked him over. Big guy, maybe 6 feet 2 inches and 220 pounds, but soft around the edges. His stance was all wrong. Feet too close together, weight distributed poorly. All show, no experience. "This is my place. You need to leave? Now." Brianna stood up, hands on her hips. "He's not going anywhere." "Yeah?" I stepped into my fighting stance. "And what if I make you leave?" That's when he said the words that still crack me up. "I wouldn't try that if I were you. I'm a 3rd-degree black belt in Shotokan karate. I've won multiple tournaments." Brianna crossed her arms and smirked. "London could kick your ass without breaking a sweat." I couldn't help but smile. "Let's see what you got, sensei." London stepped back and got into what I guess was supposed to be a fighting stance. His form was terrible. Hands too low, feet planted wrong, shoulders too tense. He looked like someone who'd learned martial arts from YouTube videos. "I'm giving you one last chance. Walk away now, and nobody gets hurt." Brianna was practically bouncing with excitement. "Show him, London." I stayed relaxed, weight on the balls of my feet, hands up but loose. After 15 years of training, this felt like facing a toddler. London started circling me, throwing these exaggerated hand movements like he was in a kung fu movie. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Less talking, more fighting. That's when he did something that will haunt me forever. This grown man, standing shirtless in my living room, slowly raised his arms and lifted one leg. He struck the exact crane pose from Karate Kid, balancing there with complete seriousness. I actually blinked a few times, thinking I was seeing things. But nope, London was really doing the crane kick pose, wobbling slightly as he tried to maintain balance. Brianna started clapping. "Yes! Do it, London!" I had to bite my lip to keep from laughing. Are you serious right now? This is an ancient technique, passed down through generations of karate masters. Dude, what are you, the Karate Kid? Silence! He suddenly leapt forward, throwing the crane kick at my head. It was the most pathetic attack I'd ever seen. Slow, telegraphed, and completely off balance. I took one small step to the side and watched him sail past me, arms windmilling as he tried not to fall. As he landed awkwardly, I stepped forward and drove my knee straight into his solar plexus. The impact was perfect. I felt my knee connect with that soft spot right below the rib cage. All the air rushed out of his lungs in one massive whoosh. London collapsed to the floor like a deflated balloon, curled up in a ball, making these gasping sounds. Tears were streaming down his face as he clutched his stomach. I stepped back and waited. In real training, you never turn your back on an opponent until you're sure they're done. But it was obvious this guy had nothing left. Brianna dropped to her knees beside him. Oh my God, London. You psycho. You attacked him for no reason. No reason? I caught you two in my apartment, half naked, and this idiot tried to kick me in the face. London was still curled up, making weird whimpering sounds. So much for the karate master. Get your stuff and get out. Both of you. I never want to see you again. She looked up at me with pure hatred. You can't just kick me out. I live here. You just proved you don't deserve to be here. She helped London to his feet. He was still hunched over, moving like an old man. They gathered their clothes and headed for the door. This isn't over. London is going to make you pay for this. I'll be waiting. Famous last words from a guy who just got dropped by the same move twice. The days later, I was getting ready for work when someone started pounding on my door. I looked through the peephole and saw Brianna standing there with 2 suitcases and a pissed-off expression. I opened the door. What do you want? I'm moving back in. This is my home too. I watched her drag her suitcases into the living room. I caught you cheating. We were working out. London was helping me with my flexibility training. Half-naked flexibility training with massage oil? She rolled her eyes. Everything isn't about sex. London is a professional trainer. This was unreal. She was actually trying to gaslight me into believing I hadn't seen what I'd seen. But honestly, this made my life easier. Fine. You want the apartment? You can have it. Her face lit up. Really? Yeah. I'll call the landlord today and remove my name from the lease. What she didn't know was that I'd been apartment hunting for months. I'd already put a deposit down on a better place across town. 2 bedrooms, updated kitchen, way nicer building. I was planning to surprise her with the move next month, but this worked out even better. I called the landlord and explained the situation. Since Brianna had been living there for 2 years, she could stay on the lease, but I wanted my name removed immediately. He said he'd have the paperwork ready by the end of the week. Then I called the movers and scheduled them for Saturday. When Brianna asked what I was doing, I just said I was making arrangements. She spent the rest of the week acting like she'd won some major victory, posting on social media about her independence and new chapter. If only she knew what was coming. I also called my brother Billy and asked if he could help me move some stuff on Saturday. He was immediately suspicious. Help you move what? I thought you and Brianna were solid. Long story, just bring your ass and your sense of humor. Now I'm definitely coming. Saturday morning, the movers arrived right on schedule. Brianna was still in her pajamas when she heard them at the door. What's going on? Moving day, I said, directing them toward the couch. Her face went white. Wait, what? You can't take the furniture? Actually, I can. It's all mine. That's when she lost her absolute mind. She started screaming about how she needed furniture, how she couldn't afford to replace everything, how this wasn't fair. You said I could have the apartment, and you can. But I never said anything about the furniture. That's when Billy walked in, took one look at the chaos, and immediately started grinning. Oh, this is good. Let me guess. Princess here thought the furniture came with the breakup? Brianna spun around to face him. What the hell are you doing here? I'm just helping my brother out, and I'm definitely recording this for posterity. You can't record me. Watch me. It's for safety reasons. Brianna tried to block the movers from taking the 65-inch TV. Please, I'll sleep on the floor. Billy looked at me. She cheated on you and now she wants to keep your stuff? Gym trainer. Some dude with more muscles than brain cells. Brianna's face went red. Shut up! You don't know anything! I know you're about to be sitting on the floor of an empty apartment wondering how you got here. But hey, at least you'll have your flexibility training to keep you warm. I had to bite back a laugh as the movers continued loading up my stuff. This is harassment. No, Billy said calmly. Harassment is what you did to my brother's trust. This is just consequences. Besides, you wanted independence. Can't get more independent than having 0 furniture. The movers finished in about 3 hours. When they left, the apartment was completely empty except for Brianna's suitcases and whatever cheap stuff she'd brought from her old place. She stood in the middle of the empty living room, looking around like she couldn't believe what had happened. I hate you. Get in line. But you might want to focus on finding some furniture first. I hear cardboard boxes are pretty affordable. As we walked out, Billy patted me on the back. Bro, that was better than Netflix. 2 weeks later, I got a text from Brianna at 11 p.m. Can you help me with rent? I'm short $800 and they're going to evict me. I didn't respond. The next day, please, I'll pay you back as soon as I get my next paycheck. Still nothing. Day 3. I can't believe you're going to let me become homeless over some stupid fight. I finally texted back, figure it out. She called me crying, begging, promising she'd never talk to London again if I just helped her this one time. When that didn't work, she got nasty. You're pathetic. No wonder I had to find a real man. London treats me like a queen. Good for you. Ask him for the rent money. Apparently, she did ask London for help. According to the gossip network at my old office, London made all kinds of excuses. His car needed repairs, his gym membership fees were due, he had to help his sick mother. Basically anything to avoid giving her money. Turns out the karate master was also a master of dodging financial responsibility. Who could have seen that coming? 2 weeks after that, Brianna got evicted. The landlord called me to make sure I wasn't liable for any damages, which I wasn't since my name was off the lease. She had trashed the place in a rage, putting holes in the walls and breaking the bathroom mirror. Her security deposit didn't even cover half the damage. That's when things got interesting. Through my office contacts, I heard that Brianna was now staying with London temporarily while she looked for a new place. But London wasn't exactly rolling out the red carpet. He kept making excuses about why she couldn't move in permanently. Something didn't add up. This guy was supposedly so into her that he was willing to fight me over her, but now he didn't want her living with him? That seemed off. So I did some digging. I started with social media. London had profiles on Instagram and Facebook, but they were pretty basic. Gym photos, motivational quotes, pictures of him in his karate uniform. Nothing that screamed married man, but also nothing that definitively said he was single. Then I checked the gym's website. They had a staff page with instructor bios. London's bio mentioned that he'd been teaching for 5 years. Still no mention of a wife or family. But here's where it got interesting. His last name was uncommon enough that I decided to do a quick Google search. And that's when I found it. A wedding announcement from 3 years ago in the local newspaper. London marries Sarah in a beautiful ceremony at the Riverside Country Club. There was even a photo of them cutting the cake. I dug deeper. Sarah had her own social media profiles, and they painted a very different picture. Photos of her in London at family gatherings, vacation pictures, anniversary posts. As recent as 2 months ago, she'd posted a photo of them at dinner with the caption, "Date night with my amazing husband." This dude was married. Not separated, not divorced, actively married to a woman who clearly had no idea he was banging his students. Plot twist. I was about to make his day very interesting. I took screenshots of everything. The wedding announcement, Sarah's social media posts, photos of them together. Then I found her Facebook profile and sent her a private message. Hi, Sarah. You don't know me, but I think you should know something about your husband, London. He's been having an affair with my ex-girlfriend. I have proof if you're interested. I attached a couple of the tamer photos I had and hit send. She responded within an hour. Sarah's first message was short. Can you call me? We talked for about an hour. Turns out their real house is across the town. Sarah had been suspicious for months. London would leave for days and stay at his friend's apartment. Because it was closer to his job, he'd come home with excuses about extra training sessions and private lessons. But she'd never had proof until now. I told her everything. How I'd caught them in my apartment. The crane kick incident. Brianna getting evicted and moving in with him. Sarah listened without interrupting, asking clarifying questions here and there. I knew something was wrong. He's been different lately. Secretive, defensive. And he's been spending money we don't have on new clothes and cologne. She asked if I had any other evidence. I mentioned that Brianna had been posting Instagram stories from what looked like London's apartment, photos of fancy takeout dinners, expensive bottles, stuff that was clearly meant to make her friends jealous. Send me her Instagram handle. I want to see for myself. 2 days later, Sarah called me back. She'd done her own investigation and found even more evidence. Brianna had been careless with her social media posts, including photos that showed identifiable parts of London's apartment. Sarah had also found receipts on their shared credit card for expensive dinners and gifts that she'd never received. I'm filing for divorce. and I want to thank you for reaching out. I could have wasted years of my life not knowing the truth. Then she laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. London is about to learn a very expensive lesson. We have a prenup that he insisted on when we got married. The irony was beautiful. London was about to get served by his own paranoia. According to Sarah, the prenup was ironclad. Any spouse who committed adultery would forfeit their claim to joint assets and have to pay the other spouse's legal fees. Since Sarah was a software engineer making good money, while London was just a part-time karate instructor, he was about to lose big. But she wasn't done. Sarah also mentioned that London had been using their joint credit card to pay for his extracurricular activities. All those fancy dinners with Brianna, the hotel rooms, even the fingerless gloves he'd worn during our fights. All paid for with money that was technically half Sarah's. I'm documenting everything. My lawyer says this is going to be a slam dunk. 3 days later, London got served with divorce papers at the gym. According to my sources, he completely lost it. Started screaming about how it was all a misunderstanding, how someone was trying to frame him, but the evidence was overwhelming. Sarah had screenshots, credit card statements, and even security footage from their apartment building showing Brianna coming and going at all hours. London tried to convince Brianna to lie for him, to say they were just friends, and that I was making everything up. But Brianna, being the genius she is, had already posted too much on social media. Her own Instagram stories proved they were sleeping together. Within a week, London kicked Brianna out. She'd been staying on his couch while Sarah was out of town on business. But now that the divorce was official, he couldn't risk having her around. So now Brianna was homeless again. London was losing everything in the divorce, and I was living peacefully in my new apartment. The master had become the student, and the lesson was expensive. But the story doesn't end there. 3 weeks later, I was coming home from a particularly brutal day. We'd been working on high-voltage lines all day, and I was exhausted. All I wanted was a shower and some food. I took the elevator up to my floor and immediately knew something was wrong. There were 3 guys sitting in the hallway near my door, and they didn't look like they were visiting neighbors. 2 of them I didn't recognize. Both looked like gym bros, probably friends of London. The third was London himself, wearing a tank top and those fingerless workout gloves that serious fighters never actually use. As I walked toward my apartment, Brianna stepped out from around the corner. She had this excited, vindictive smile on her face. Surprise! London wanted to have a little chat with you. London stood up, flexing his shoulders. Remember me? Hard to forget. What do you want? You ruined my life. My wife left me. I'm losing everything, and it's all because of you. I looked at the other 2 guys. They were both bigger than London, but they had that same soft, untrained look. So you brought backup? I brought witnesses. I want everyone to see what happens when someone messes with my life. Brianna was practically vibrating with excitement. I set my work bag down and got ready. 3 against 1 isn't great odds, but these guys clearly had no idea what they were doing. London started his movie villain speech again. You think you're so smart telling my wife about us? If you're going to jump me, can we skip the monologue? I've got dinner to make. That pissed him off. He charged forward with a wild haymaker, probably thinking he could end it with one punch. I ducked under his swing and stepped to the side. One of his buddies tried to grab me from behind, but I was already moving. I drove my elbow back into his stomach, then spun and caught him with a right hook to the jaw. He went down hard. The second guy hesitated, which was his mistake. I stepped forward and threw a straight punch right into his nose. He stumbled backward, hands covering his face. London was still trying to figure out what happened when I turned back to him. Your turn, sensei. He got into his karate stance, hands moving in those exaggerated patterns. You destroyed my marriage. You did that yourself. He threw a series of punches that looked impressive, but had no power behind them. I slipped them easily, then stepped in close and drove my knee into his stomach again. Same spot, same result. London crumpled to the floor, gasping for air. His 2 friends were still down, one holding his jaw, the other trying to stop his nosebleed. You done? Brianna was screaming about how I was crazy, how this was assault, how she was calling the police. Go ahead, call them. Let's see what they think about 3 guys jumping one person in a hallway. She helped London to his feet, but he could barely stand. Don't look too proud. This isn't over. Yeah, it is. Next time you want to blame someone for your problems, look in a mirror. They stumbled away, leaving me alone in the hallway. I gathered my stuff and went inside, finally ready for that shower and dinner. Guy really thought bringing backup would help him win a fight he'd already lost twice. Some people never learn. 2 days later, the building manager called me. Apparently, someone had complained about a disturbance in the hallway. When I explained what happened and offered to show them the security footage, They dropped it pretty quickly. But London wasn't done. A week later, I got a call from the police. Someone had filed a complaint claiming I'd assaulted them. I gave them my side of the story and mentioned the security cameras. Turns out the footage showed everything. London and his friends waiting for me, Brianna orchestrating the whole thing, and London throwing the first punch. The case was closed before it even started. In fact, London ended up getting charged with assault and conspiracy. Combined with his ongoing divorce proceedings, this was the final nail in his coffin. With the video evidence and his pattern of bad decisions, the judge gave him 6 months in county jail. His 2 buddies got probation and community service. Well, I hope he'll be able to do the crane pose in jail now. But the real justice came from Sarah's divorce proceedings. With the additional evidence of London organizing an assault on me, her lawyer was able to argue that he was a danger to others and completely unfit for any settlement. The prenup held up perfectly. London walked away with nothing. No house, no car, no gym equipment, and he had to pay Sarah's legal fees, which came to about $15,000. As for Brianna, she became a complete pariah. Word got around the office about what she'd done. Cheating, getting evicted, setting up an ambush. Her coworkers stopped talking to her, and she became the office joke. A month later, she got fired for attitude problems with customers. Apparently, she'd been taking her frustrations out on people calling in about their power bills, and complaints started piling up. I heard through the grapevine that she moved back in with her parents and was working at a different company for less money. About 3 weeks after London went to jail, I was relaxing on my couch playing PS4 with Billy when someone buzzed my apartment from downstairs. I wasn't expecting anyone, but when I answered the intercom, I heard her voice. "It's me. Can I come up? I really need to talk to you." Billy paused the game and looked at me with raised eyebrows. "Please tell me that's not who I think it is." "Unfortunately, it is." "Dude, let her up. This is going to be hilarious." I buzzed her up. When she knocked on my door, I opened it, but didn't invite her in. She looked rough. "Hi. Your new place looks nice. You've got 5 minutes. What do you want?" She took a deep breath like she'd been rehearsing this. "I want to apologize. For everything. I know I messed up with London, and I know I hurt you. But I've had time to think, and I realize you're the best thing that ever happened to me." From the couch, Billy called out, "Oh, this is already good. Keep going." Brianna shot him a look. "Who's that?" "That's Billy, and you've got 4 minutes left." She continued her speech. "I miss us. I miss what we had. All that stuff with London was a mistake, a huge, stupid mistake. But it's over now. He's out of my life completely. I want to make things right between us." "No." Her face fell. "What do you mean, no?" "I mean no. We're not getting back together. Ever." "But I apologized. I admitted I was wrong. What more do you want?" "Nothing. I don't want anything from you except for you to leave me alone." That's when the mask slipped, and the real Brianna came out. "Are you serious right now? Do you know how hard this was for me? Swallowing my pride to come here and apologize?" Billy paused his game again. "Did she just say swallowing her pride was hard? Lady, you were literally oiling up for some karate dude in his apartment." Brianna's face went red. "Stay out of this." "Nah, I'm good right here. This is better than reality TV. Please, continue embarrassing yourself. I've been through hell because of you. I lost my apartment, my job, everything. The least you could do is give me a chance to make things right. You lost everything because of your own choices. That has nothing to do with me." She stepped closer, getting that entitled look I remembered so well. "Come on. We were good together. You know we were. And now you have this nice place. You're doing well. We could start fresh." Billy laughed from the couch. "Oh my God. She actually thinks this is going to work. What's next? Are you going to promise to be faithful this time?" "Shut up. Hey, I'm not the one who cheated with Captain Cranekick. Speaking of which, how's London doing in jail? I heard orange isn't really his color." "Not happening," I told Brianna, ignoring her growing fury. "Why are you being so stubborn? People make mistakes. I said I was sorry." I could see she was getting more agitated, so I started closing the door. "All right, this conversation is over. Don't come back here." She stuck her foot in the door. "Wait! You can't just dismiss me like this. I apologized. That means you have to forgive me." "That's not how it works. Move your foot." Billy got up from the couch. "Need me to explain this to her? Because I've got all day." "No. We need to talk about this like adults." I'd had enough. I pulled out my phone and called the front desk. "Hey, this is apartment 4B. I need security up here." Brianna's eyes went wide. "You're calling security on me? Are you insane? You wouldn't leave when I asked nicely." Billy was recording everything on his phone. "This is going straight to the group chat. The boys are gonna love this." Stop recording me, jerk! 2 security guards showed up within 5 minutes. Brianna tried to explain to them that we were just having a relationship discussion, but they weren't interested in her story. Ma'am, you need to leave the building. The resident has asked you to go now. This is ridiculous. I just wanted to apologize. Billy called out, next time try apologizing to a mirror. Maybe work on some self-awareness while you're at it. Before the elevator doors closed, I called out to her. If you show up here again, I'm calling the police. Stay away from me. She gave me one last hateful look as the doors shut. I haven't seen or heard from her since. The building security has her photo now, so even if she tried to come back, she wouldn't make it past the lobby. Billy was dying laughing as we went back to our game. Bro, that was incredible. She actually thought you'd take her back after all that? Apparently. Some people never learn. But hey, at least you got a good story out of it. These days, I'm single and loving it. Living in my better apartment. Still working the lines. Still training 5 days a week. The crew at work got a good laugh out of the whole story, especially when I described the crane kick. My uncle just shook his head when I told him. That's why we train for real. So when fake fighters come around, we know the difference. London got out of jail about a month ago. I heard he's working at a big box store. Apparently, he's telling people he's a reformed man now and that he's given up martial arts. Smart move, because if he ever tries that crane kick again, he's going to learn that some lessons need to be taught more than once. The guy went from karate master to retail worker in 6 months. That's got to be some kind of record. Edit. Thanks for all the comments and awards. Appreciate it, bros. For those asking, yes, I still have the security footage from both incidents. No, I'm not posting it. And yes, Sarah and I are still in touch. She's doing great and found someone who actually deserves her. Edit 2. To whoever asked if this is fake, I wish it was. Reality is often stranger than fiction, especially when you're dealing with people who think movies are real life.